In our last crispy chicken wing video, we found out that baking powder and cornstarch together made wings super crispy in the oven. In the comment section of that video and the previous chicken wing videos, people said, Chef Ange, you gotta boil the chicken wings before they go in the oven. So in this video, we're gonna test that out. We're gonna throw the wings in some boiling water. We're also gonna make them regular, and we're gonna see which ones makes wings crispier. For the full ingredient list, check the description box below. But enough talking, let's get cooking.
The first step to getting this recipe going is preheating the oven. So I'm going to turn the convection setting on. I'm going to set this at 385. We're going to bump the temperature up as we're cooking it, but that's where we're going to start. So I got these wings separated. It's about 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds each. We're going to take half of them. We're going to throw them in some boiling water for about 1.5 minutes. You can see that the skin on the outside is now a little cooked, but these wings are far from cooked all the way through. I couldn't find my spider, so I'm going to use this slotted spoon. And we're going to take the wings out, and we're going to put them on some paper towel to collect any of the excess moisture. Really want these wings nice and dry. So we found out in our last video that a mixture of baking powder and cornstarch was the best additive to make wings crispy on the outside in the oven. So here we're going to take 1.5 tablespoons of both baking powder and cornstarch, and we're going to make 2 separate preparations for half the wings and the other half. The baking powder I like to use is the Rumford brand. It doesn't have any aluminum in it, and this is just regular cornstarch. So now let's make some seasoning. We're going to take some of my base seasoning, which is a blend of garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper, and some Old Bay. We're going to keep this really simple. Old Bay is a really nice dry rub flavor on top of wings, and it gets a little support from the base seasoning. We're going to mix this up, and we're going to set this aside and get to our wings. So now I'm going to pat dry the wings with some paper towel to pick up any excess moisture. Drying is really key to making sure that you're going to get these wings super crispy. And now we're going to cover them with the mixture of baking powder and cornstarch. And I'm just going to use my hands to keep tossing them until most of the baking powder and the cornstarch is covered by the wings and there aren't any dry spots. We're going to do the same thing on the pre-boiled side. Now we're going to take some of that seasoning mix that we made, and we're going to sprinkle that right over the top. A couple heavy pinches on each one of the batches. And now we're just going to get in there with our hands and mix that up until the seasoning is well coated over the baking powder and cornstarch. Now we're going to stick with our standard baking setup. So I got my baking tray that's lined with a heavy-duty aluminum foil. It's a total mess if you don't, so it really saves on cleanup. And I got this raised grate that I'm going to spray with some oil to really try to reduce the amount of sticking. There's always a little bit of sticking with these wings. You can see that the outside is just really well coated, just like a wing that I would throw in the fryer. And then we're going to do the same thing with our pre-boiled side. I'm already noticing on the pre-boiled side that not a lot of the seasoning has stuck to it because the skin is already cooked. We're going to put a little divider in the middle just so we know where the line is in between the pre-boiled ones and the regular not boiled ones. And our reigning champion, the non-boiled ones, we're just going to put this little piece just so as we're taking this in and out of the oven, we don't get it mixed up. So these are going to go in this 385-degree oven for about 20 minutes. After about 20 minutes, we're going to turn the temperature up in the oven to 425. So the oven gets up to temperature as we flip these wings, and we're going to pull the wings out. You can see that they are far from cooked. Now we're going to use our tongs, and we're going to flip each one of these wings over. In every video that I make, everyone always says that this flipping process is too much work, but this is the only way to get wings crispy in the oven, so you got to work for that crispiness. You could see that the pre-boiled sides didn't stick as much, and they were way easier to flip. We're going to give them a light spray with some oil. Here I'm using some avocado oil, but you use whatever spray oil you got, and another seasoning. The oil and re-seasoning step is an essential step to getting these super crispy. Every time I try to skip that step and do all the seasoning at once, it never comes out as crispy. So these are going to go in the 425-degree oven for about 20 minutes. After about 20 minutes, you can see that these wings are starting to pick up some really nice color, starting to golden up very nicely. And now we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to flip. We're going to give them a light spray of oil, and then we're going to re-season them. You can see that the non-boiled side are sticking a little bit, so I'm really going to take my time. Even the boiled side at this point are starting to stick a little bit. Just make sure you use your patience. And to add a little bit of butter flavor here, we're going to use some spray ghee for our second reseasoning. Just a little bit on each one. So these are going to go back in that 425 degree oven for another 15 minutes. After about 15 minutes, you can see that these are starting to get really nice and golden. They're sticking a whole lot less right now, although some of them might stick a little bit. Just make sure you're taking your patience with any of the wings that are sticking and you don't rip off the skin. Now we're going to season them a little bit more. Just a light sprinkle over the top. And these are going to go back in the oven for an additional 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we're going to pull them out. We're going to flip them again. Oh, that one's sticking a little bit. We're going to use our spray ghee. Little reseason. And in the oven one more time for another 5 minutes on the final side. After that, we're going to pull them out. We're going to flip them again, but don't you worry. These do not have to go back in the oven. Now we're just flipping them so that the bottom is going to dry on the top. And again, this is just another one of these little details that I find that when I do this, the wings get really, really crispy. We're just going to leave these on the sheet and let them air dry for about 5 minutes before we plate them. As they dry, they continue to get nice and crispy. As I'm handling these and putting these on the plate and making sure that we're separating out the two sides to not mix them up, they're super duper crispy. And now we're going to use some of these Jersey pickles. I think I got the sweet chili flavor here, and we're going to use these as a little palate cleanser in between the taste test here. But these wings look ultra crispy. Both sides did a fantastic job, but the taste test tells all.
Both of these look super fantastic, really, really crispy, but the taste test is gonna tell all, so let's run these wings through our crispiness taste test. First, let's check out our normal non-boiled wing. Let's see how it passes the knife test. I'm gonna be really quiet so my microphone can pick this up. Definitely got a nice level of crispiness to this. So now let's check out the boiled wing. We'll run the knife on the wing. We'll see how crispy it sounds. This one sounds also very crispy. So here I have our regular wing. Here's the boiled wing. You can see that the color on the wings is much different. This has more of like a golden color. This is definitely a little paler. I'm not too sure which one I either like or don't like, but I kind of like vibe with the golden colored one a little bit more. Let's now taste test these. First one up is going to be the drumstick of our regular wing that's not boiled. That wing had some really nice crisp to it. You know, this is the same wing that we make in a lot of these videos, so kind of like expected the level of crispiness. Now let's check out one of the boiled ones. I can say that the wing was definitely crispy. But one thing that's a little off about it is it's a little dry on the inside. I don't know if maybe I should have reduced some cooking time on it, but I can tell you it's not as juicy as our regular wings that were not boiled. Let's check out a flat, but in between, we're gonna try one of these pickles. I picked up these Jersey pickles at our local street fair. They say best pickles ever. I agree, these are awesome pickles. This is their sweet chili flavor. That's a good pickle. And they didn't pay me to do anything for this video, so I'm just letting you know about a good product out there, Jersey pickles. They ship nationwide, so no matter where you are, you can pick up these pickles. Now let's check out a flat. So again, visual inspection, looks super duper crispy, feels crispy. These wings are super crispy, really nice tender meat on the inside, super juicy, best of both worlds. Now let's check out a flat on our pre-boiled wing side. Pickle while I think about this. These were both really crispy on the outside, but these were juicy on the inside and the pre-boiled ones were a little dry. Something I suspect is that maybe I needed to reduce the cooking time, or when you were boiling them, the fat's coming out of the wing a lot faster than it needs to, and it's not helping out with that crisping process. So although they're both crispy, I really like the non-boiled ones. So this myth has been busted. Don't boil your wings. Just make them like you saw in this video and they'll be super crispy. If you want to check out some crispy chicken wing videos, check out the last one in the series right here. And if you're into chicken, here's my chicken playlist. I'll see you there. Thanks.